We are so close to WWE Bad Blood, and I can't hide it. I'm excited. The show airs live this Saturday, October 5th, 2024, live from Atlanta, Georgia, and let me tell you, the card is stacked. Like, not only is every match incredibly strong on the surface, but there's actually deep-rooted hatred in each and every one of these matches. The name Bad Blood is incredibly fitting because there really is bad blood in each matchup. But today I am predicting every single match on the card, so before we begin, make sure you leave a like on this video, make sure you subscribe to the channel, turn those notifications on, and make sure you leave a comment down below with all of your thoughts, predictions, or whatever about Bad Blood, as I'm literally going to be reading some of these live on stream before the pay-per-view, or PLE, sorry, this Saturday. So if you want to see if your comment makes it, come join me on stream. Now, let's get into this thing. Let's start things off with the feud that has the most amount of bad blood between them. We got Drew McIntyre versus CM Punk inside Hell in a Cell. This will be the third matchup between the two in their series of matches. We saw Drew McIntyre beat CM Punk back at SummerSlam with the special guest referee being Seth Rollins. And then we saw CM Punk win in Bash in Berlin in a four-corner strap match. That means the series is all even at one apiece and we need the rubber match. And for the first time in what feels like forever, we're actually having a true, honest blow-off feud inside the cell. It's not just thrown out there because these two hate each other and it's that time of year of October again. No, these two people despise each other and there's only one matchup that can settle it all. And that is Hell in a Cell. It feels like this feud is straight out of the Attitude Era, and they've done an incredible job making every single moment matter along the way. You think back to how long this feud has been going on for, it needs to end this Saturday. But how do we end this feud and allow both superstars to move on in their own directions without having one person go over clean on the other? Because let's face it, both wrestlers in this match do need the win. Drew McIntyre needs the win if he's ever going to get back towards that World Heavyweight Championship picture. And CM Punk, he needs wins. Like, he's on his last run. He needs these wins if he's going to actually rise up to the main event scene again. If he's going to have an actual legitimate reason for challenging for the title, not just because he touched four corners, he needs to beat Drew McIntyre inside the cell. But I don't think that's what's going to happen here. I feel like Drew McIntyre is on a mission back towards that World Heavyweight title. If we sit here and really think about it, a lot of Drew McIntyre's character comes from losing the World Heavyweight Championship. He was dialed in, he was focused, he was obsessed with winning that title, and it ended up being CM Punk who took that title away from him. After everything we have been through, logic dictates that it should be Drew McIntyre getting an opportunity against Gunther for the World Heavyweight title in the future. Because if he doesn't, well then what was the point of all this for Drew? What was the point of angering CM Punk to the point that you put a bracelet over your wrist that had the name of his dog and wife on it? Like, that is being a straight up menace. There has to be a reason for Drew McIntyre being like this, and the reason is that he is going back to the World Heavyweight title. But CM Punk was the one who said Gunther's name. CM Punk was the man who called him out. It's so obvious that CM Punk is going to face Gunther for the World Heavyweight Championship, right? And that's why I feel like they're going in a different direction. They've made it so obvious to us that CM Punk is going to get a world title match at some point in his career, whenever that may be. Maybe it's even WrestleMania time. But the fact that it feels that obvious makes me believe that we're in for a bit of a swerve. And that swerve comes from none other than Seth frickin' Rollins, because I believe Seth Rollins is going to be the man who costs CM Punk this match. It is going to be the return of Rollins. We're going to go into the fall with Seth Rollins versus CM Punk being one of the big feuds. Maybe that's a match that happens at Survivor Series. Maybe it's a match that goes on towards the Royal Rumble. Something along those lines, but I believe that CM Punk is not quite back in the title picture yet. Sure, a win over Drew McIntyre would put him in that title picture, but a loss would definitely drop him down the card, and Seth Rollins could be laughing all the way to the bank. There is so much hatred between Seth and Punk that they gotta follow up on it pretty soon, and there's a big 4 pay-per-view coming up, like I said, in Survivor Series, and if that doesn't work, Royal Rumble's right around the corner. This makes so much sense if Seth Rollins is healthy to go. I fully expect a lot of blood in this matchup. I fully expect for it to be incredibly vicious, but I don't expect for it to remain inside the cell. It is likely going to break outside at some point, whether they go on top of the cell, whether they go through an announce table, whether they're fighting through the stands. Anything is possible with this Hell in a Cell matchup, but like, the best Hell in a Cell matches never actually remain inside the cell. And I don't think Drew McIntyre and CM Punk is going to be one of those that do. And it is because of them leaving the cell that I think it will present the opportunity for Seth Rollins to cost CM Punk. I don't know how he's going to go about it. I envision Seth Rollins somehow stomping CM Punk and giving Drew McIntyre the win. And this also then leans into Drew McIntyre's heel character because he's not a good guy by any means, but he's also not truly a bad guy. He's a man on a mission looking to beat Punk in any way possible, so he'll take that opportunity from Seth Rollins. And it's kind of like that full circle moment where Seth Rollins kind of pays it back to Drew McIntyre. He congratulated him, gave him a tip of his cap when he won the World Heavyweight title. Why wouldn't he be on his side? Because he really does hate CM Punk. So in the end, I fully expect to see Drew McIntyre walking out of the win and walking out victorious in this feud before going on and facing Gunther, whether it be at the Royal Rumble, at Survivor Series, maybe an episode of Raw, but he is going to get his opportunity for the World Heavyweight title soon. Next up, it's Bayley versus Nia Jax for the WWE Women's Championship. And I just got to sit here and say I am incredibly surprised that Naomi is not in this match. This matchup came about because Naomi and Bayley faced each other for a #1 contenders match on Friday Night SmackDown, which Bayley won. That surprised the hell out of me. Like, no offense to Bayley, but I truly thought either Naomi was going to get this one-on-one opportunity or it was going to be a triple threat of some sort. Like Nia Jax and Tiffany Stratton were going to end that match and beat them both down or whatever, and then it would have come out that it was a triple threat. Very, very, very surprised this isn't the direction they moved in. But it isn't, so we have the one-on-one match between Bayley and Nia. Now, both these ladies have great chemistry in the ring. Like Nia Jax, all credit to her right now. She is on a run of a lifetime. Everything that was said about Nia Jax those few years ago has been completely erased. She is incredible in the ring right now. Her character is one of the best in the women's division, if not the best right now in the women's division. She's intimidating. I take her seriously as a champion. Everything is working for Nia Jax. Bayley, on the other hand, unfortunately, she feels like a bit of an afterthought with this entire feud, and that's like the common theme with Bayley. It's like every time that she gets presented in a strong way, there's just something missing from creative, and I don't know how to put my thumb on it, but every time I see Bayley as a babyface right now, I feel like she's like either the second, third, or fourth most important character going on in this story. Like, here I am talking about Naomi, how she deserved this matchup when Bayley actually has the match, and it feels like something's missing, right? It feels like Naomi should be in here. So Bayley, for whatever reason, just isn't connecting the way that she used to. And that sucks as a Bayley fan. I want nothing but the best for her, and I'm sure most of the people watching right now want nothing but good things for Bayley. But she's not in the championship picture as a credible challenger anymore. She just isn't. Her time is coming on. It is all about Nia Jax and the feud that is being built very, very slowly between her and Tiffany Stratton. If you missed it on SmackDown, Tiffany Stratton looked like she saw a damn ghost when Nia Jax grabbed her by the neck. Like, Nia threatened the hell out of her, and Tiffany didn't like it for a moment after that. There was this moment of anger that we saw from Tiffany, which makes me wonder, how close is she to possibly cashing in the Money in the Bank contract on Nia Jax? We've seen it very briefly teased with Tiffany possibly cashing in the Money in the Bank on Nia Jax already, and it's just a matter of time before she does so. We're building this up in the right way where Nia Jax is going to be the big bully to Tiffany Stratton, and eventually someday the center of the universe is going to break free from her shackles and she's going to take over as women's champion. This day will come, but it is not this Saturday. I do not see Tiffany Stratton cashing in. However, I do see her thinking about it. I do see her teasing the idea of cashing in the Money in the Bank contract on Nia Jax. It's going to be very similar to how we've seen it play out before, where Nia's down, Tiffany's there, she's looking at the briefcase, looking at the referee, and then Nia kind of catches on to what's going on. I think this will also create a very close near-fall opportunity for Bayley, where Nia Jax is distracted with Tiffany Stratton, and then Bayley rolls her up for the 1, 2, 2 3/4 before Nia kicks out. In the end, I feel like this match is just here to kind of give Nia Jax another win over Bayley and to kind of move on from this feud with her, but it's more so all about the outside interference, the outside distractions of Tiffany Stratton and how she's interacting with Nia Jax. So in the end, Nia's going to pick up this win, and it's going to be a pretty dominant win with a couple near falls for Bayley. but it's going to tease the bigger story at play here, which is Nia Jax versus Tiffany Stratton. And let's just say this, when Tiffany Stratton does turn babyface, the world is hers. She absolutely is going to take over as women's champion, and I can't wait for that day. But it's not happening this Saturday. Next up is a feud that is rooted in such deep hatred that it is very fitting it's taking place on the Bad Blood pay-per-view, Finn Balor versus Damian Priest. Of course, Damian Priest, a former member of the Judgment Day, and Finn Balor, kind of the de facto leader of the new Judgment Day, or the Street Trash as they like to call themselves, which, by the way, I kind of wish they named them Street Trash. I love the name. I know everybody else hates it, but like, hey, it's freaking awesome. I love the look of it. I love that they call themselves Street Trash. Anyways, I digress. It's still a great name. But Damian Priest needs to be done with the Judgment Day. He's been feuding with them for a little bit now, and it kind of feels like a step down from the World Heavyweight title picture he was in. Obviously, we got to address the stuff that happened with Finn Balor turning on him, and they do need to have the blow-off match, and the feud with like Rhea Ripley, alongside a Liv Morgan, Dominic Mysterio, everybody involved in the Judgment Day. It needed to happen, right? We need to move past this feud, though, in order to move forward. And Damian Priest does belong around the World Heavyweight Championship picture. Like, he proved himself to be a main event player throughout that time he was the world champion. And Finn Balor, unfortunately, I just don't feel like he needs this win as much as Damian does. Sure, a win for Finn Balor would help elevate him up the card, but are we seeing Finn Balor go towards that World Heavyweight title picture anytime soon? Probably not. I mean, he's one half of the tag team champions. So that has me believing that Damian Priest is going to win this match, and he's going to win it clean. In fact, I feel like that's the most likely scenario out of any of the matches that we have here on this card. Damian Priest should beat Finn Balor. But then the wrestling mark in me is starting to think, how do we get Finn Balor into a different feud? Him being one half of the tag team champions, who could possibly feud with Finn Balor? Well, there's a certain group that likes to cause chaos on Monday Night Raw and loves to target people who turn their back on their family. And you could argue that Finn Balor turned his back on family when he stabbed Damian Priest in the back. And I'm sure you got it, who I'm talking about, but I am talking about the Wyatt Six. See, to me, this is the natural progression for the Judgment Day. They don't have much left with the Terror Twins after Bad Blood, in my opinion. Maybe Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan will be intertwined still a little bit moving forward because of the Dominic effect and because of the World Championship being around Liv Morgan's waist. But Damian Priest has zero reason to be around Finn Balor anymore. And we also know that the Wyatt Six are now done with American Made. They aren't targeting them anymore, and they've kind of just vanished off the card. I don't think they're done. I don't think Triple H is about to give up on the Wyatt Six by any means. They've got all this possible merch money to print with them. They've got a great story to tell, but they just need something more on Monday Night Raw. That something more comes in the form of the faction, the Judgment Day. There's so many potential matchups with the Judgment Day being involved with the Wyatt Six, and it's been proven that the Wyatt Six work as a draw on Monday Night Raw. So why wouldn't you have one of your top acts in the Judgment Day go up against another one of your top acts in the Wyatts, especially when the tag team titles could be on the line? To me, that rejuvenates the entire tag team division. It makes it feel important, and again, it gives us multiple main event matches on Monday Night Raw, especially when it moves to 2 hours. You need to fill time on that show. You need to be able to put good characters on there so people stick around for the main event. And yeah, it's not 3 hours, so we have 1 hour less, but that just means all 2 hours are that much more important, and this feels like it could be a massive feud for Monday Night Raw. We might even see the start of this feud between Finn Balor and the Wyatts start at Bad Blood. Imagine if the Wyatts do target Finn here. Imagine if the lights go out. Imagine if we hear that piano song play and Damian Priest picks up the win after that and then gets out of there, right? What if Damian just hightails it out, leaves Finn Balor alone in the ring, and then the Wyatts come out at Bad Blood? Like, to me, that's something that is worthy of a PLE. That's something that makes the PLE feel bigger, grander, and it makes the upcoming shows feel incredibly exciting. If we have something to look forward to, like the Judgment Day versus the Wyatts on Monday Night Raw, then man, take my money, inject it into my veins. I want to see that. So in the end, I do think Damian Priest is going to pick up this win, and I wonder if it's going to be because of the help of the Wyatts, or if he's just going to beat Finn Balor clean, which is then going to lead to Finn Balor being angry, unhinged, you name it, and maybe that's when the Wyatts interject themselves. But I am almost certain we're we are going to see the Wyatts and the Judgment Day feud at some point in the near future. So we go from one member of the Judgment Day to another, as we're going to talk about Liv Morgan versus Rhea Ripley, with Dominic Mysterio suspended above the ring in a shark cage. How great is that? I don't mean to toot my own horn, but I called this thing from a mile away, and it's great that it's actually happening. A shark cage is one of those underutilized gimmick matches that actually are pretty fun to watch. The antics of seeing somebody dangling above the ring in a shark cage, scared of the heights, scared of what's going to happen. It's great TV, and Dominic is going to crush it in this role. He's going to make it incredibly entertaining to watch this matchup. Obviously, the talent in the ring of Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley are able to steal any show, and their chemistry is really, really great. But the added antics of Dominic, whether he be trying to distract Rhea up there, who knows what he's going to do, but it's going to be very, very entertaining. But as I'm here trying to predict this match, envisioning what's going to happen, my mind went to one other match from the past that included a shark cage, and it was Carmella versus Asuka, with none other than James Ellsworth hanging above the ring in a shark cage. In that matchup, at one point, the shark cage actually opened and James Ellsworth came out of the cage, but he was left dangling upside down for quite some time, which allowed Asuka to just get her comeuppance in. She just was able to kick that fool over and over again as he was hanging there upside down. By the way, poor Ellsworth. But that distraction from Ellsworth allowed Carmella to pick up the victory by shoving Asuka into the shark cage. It was a very easy way to keep the title on Carmella, and I can see this kind of going down in this matchup as well. Like, at some point, that shark cage is gonna open, and Dominic Mysterio is either gonna come out of it, he's gonna trip and fall, there's gonna be some sort of distraction, and that is when Rhea Ripley's going to look at that and say, I can finally get even with this guy. But that opportunity that is going to be open there because Rhea Ripley is distracted leads me in one of two directions. One, Liv Morgan's just going to pick up the win, whether it's a roll-up, whether it's shoving her into the cage, whether it's using a weapon of some sort with a referee. Who knows? But I believe that at some point, we will then see her pick up the win. Liv Morgan will walk out as World Heavyweight Champion. But the other way that this could happen, and again, I don't see Rhea Ripley winning this thing, but another way that I could see this going down is if Rhea Ripley is distracted and taken out by a returning Raquel Rodriguez. See, Raquel Rodriguez has been rumored to return to WWE for quite some time, and her and Liv Morgan do have a lot of history together. They were women's tag team champions at one point. In fact, they were a great tag team that looked like they were about to break through and become one of the mainstays of the women's tag division before Raquel had to leave due to injury or what is it that she's going through? I'm not exactly sure, but she had to leave WWE for a little bit of time. And if she's cleared, if she's all healthy to go, it would be great to see Raquel back because she's an incredible talent and she's sorely missed on the Monday Night Raw brand right now. But can you imagine her interjecting herself into this feud, protecting Liv Morgan, acting almost like the Diesel to her Shawn Michaels? Man, that would be great TV. And if then we could get a feud between Raquel Rodriguez and Rhea Ripley, that would be excellent. That would be great for Monday Night Raw. That'd be great going into War Games. Hell, maybe even that's part of the War Games match. Maybe somehow Rhea Ripley develops a team and then the Street Trash Judgment Day develops a team of their own right. I am getting ahead of myself, but in the end, I do think either Raquel is going to cost Rhea Ripley the match, or it's going to be Dominic Mysterio distracting Rhea, allowing Liv Morgan to pick up this win. I don't feel like this feud is over. In fact, I feel like we're far from done between these two. Like, this is going to run for quite some time, because if we take a look at the rest of the Raw roster, who's at the position to make sense to challenge Liv Morgan right now for the women's title? There's really no one. So it's safe to say Rhea Ripley's going to be hanging around the title picture for just a little bit longer, whether that means going all the way to Royal Rumble or if it ends a little bit sooner. But Rhea Ripley's not done with this championship, and so we need a sketchy, shady finish in order to keep the title on Liv Morgan. Because let's face it, a clean win for Liv Morgan does nobody any favors except for Liv Morgan, and if you don't have anyone ready to challenge her, Why would we? Why would we give her a clean win over Rhea Ripley, who is one of the most over women in WWE, if not the most over women? But my official prediction, Liv Morgan retains. Then let's talk about what I think is going to be the main event. It is going to be Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes teaming together for the first time ever to take on Solo Sikoa and Jacob Fatu. Oh my God, this is a massive match. After the incredible promo we saw a couple of weeks ago on Friday Night SmackDown between Roman and Cody in Georgia Tech, You can feel the tension. You can feel the animosity between these two. They don't like each other, but they have to work together. The enemy of my enemy is my friend, and that is exactly what's going on right now with Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns. You scratch my back, I scratch yours. You're looking out for mine, I'm looking out for yours. But can they coexist? Part of me thinks, yeah, they can. I think that these two guys are going to absolutely be able to be on the same page, but there is going to be a couple moments where they're not. Because in the end, Roman Reigns wants that WWE Undisputed Championship back, and Cody Rhodes doesn't want to give it up. However, they're going to have to focus if they're going to take down the badass duo of Solo and Jacob Fatu. Now, Solo Sikoa has been incredible. He doesn't get enough love right now for his run as the attempted tribal chief, if you will. The guy who thinks he's the tribal chief, but really isn't. Let's be real. Roman Reigns is back, and I'm not acknowledging him yet. No, he's got to earn my finger in the air.
You're lying.
But Solo and Jacob are a force to be reckoned with, and the fact that we're seeing this possibility of Cody and Roman losing to a force like Jacob and Solo tells us all we need to know. They are protecting Jacob Fatu so much. They're making him look like an absolute beast, and I love it. In fact, they should. I bet you eventually they're going to do Roman Reigns versus Jacob Fatu in a match, which will be mega money. Hell, they'll probably do Solo Sikoa versus Jacob Fatu someday. Like, Jacob Fatu is essentially the up-and-coming star in this entire program. Jacob Fatu is the future, but the future isn't now, and I don't see any way we walk out of Bad Blood with Solo Sikoa and Jacob Fatu picking up the win. I don't see Jacob taking the L himself. I don't see him getting pinned. I do, however, see Solo Sikoa getting pinned by Roman Reigns. You could take it one step further and have Cody Rhodes be the guy to pin Solo Sikoa if you really wanted to, but Roman Reigns, in my opinion, is the one who needs the pinfall in this matchup so that he can then turn to Cody and say, I beat them. I beat those guys. I want your title. Now, what I think the ending of the show is going to be after Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns absolutely destroy Solo Sikoa and Jacob Fatu, what needs to happen is the Tongans need to come out and they need to beat down Roman and Cody. We need to see this moment of vulnerability between these two where it looks like, hey, the numbers game is against them. They don't have a chance in hell of winning this actual feud. Sure, a 2-on-2 match, they can absolutely destroy them. But when it's outside of a match, they're still in very much danger and they can't stop the Tongans, Solo, and Jacob as a unit. That's where we need to hear Jimmy Uso's music hit. It's time. This guy apparently returned at a house show, for goodness sake. He's ready to go. He's ready to come back. It's time to interject Jimmy Uso into this feud, and the ending of the show can be Jimmy helping Roman up, and there's this moment of, can we trust Cody Rhodes? There's still the dissension. There's still the divide between those two. There's the question of, can they coexist moving forward into the future? But we got to start building towards War Games. In my mind, the War Games match is easily going to be Jacob Fatu, Solo Sikoa, the Tongans versus Cody Rhodes, Roman Reigns, Jimmy Uso, and then, oh my God, it better be Jay. Jey Uso better be part of that match. I know so many people don't want to see Jey Uso come over and be involved with the Bloodline again, but who else could be in this matchup? Who else could be this guy to tag with Roman Reigns? Well, actually, I'm just sitting here thinking there has been a voice of reason lately. There has been one person who maybe could be that guy. What if Randy Orton is the man that goes into this feud? What if it's Randy, Roman, Cody, and Jimmy versus Jacob, Solo, and the Tongans? Dude, that actually might be good. But for me and for everybody else watching at home, we know we want to see Jey Uso reunite with Roman. We know we want to see Jey Uso reunite with Jimmy Uso. And if that ends up happening, if that's the build towards War Games, that they need one more person, hell, they could even leave it a surprise all the way until War Games. And if Jey Uso's music hit, ho, 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 the roof would blow off that place. But back to the actual matchup at hand, I just can't see a world where Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes lose this matchup. They're literally the modern day mega powers, and when you have that type of combination, you don't have them lose for a team like Solo and Jacob. All love to them, but they're a heel duo who doesn't need the win right now. Roman Reigns oddly does. Cody Rhodes oddly does. So at the very end of the show, I do envision them standing tall together with a returning Jimmy Uso, and hopefully that's the beginning of the build to War Games. I guess you could also do, if you really wanted to, if Jimmy Uso's not available, you could do Randy Orton and Kevin Owens along with Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes, which The story is there for that now, and maybe that's when Kevin Owens turns heel. Maybe that's how they lose. Maybe that's how the Bloodline wins War Games this year, and Kevin Owens screws over Cody Rhodes, or screws over Randy Orton, or screws over Roman Reigns. Like, that could happen. I really am getting ahead of myself, though. In the end, I really think this is going to be a great matchup that is going to be so cool to see Roman and Cody tagging together. There's just not a world that makes sense where those two lose. So my final answer, my final prediction, Cody and Roman win. I was about to say retain, but they just win. They just win this match. But as of this recording date, that is all the matches that are announced for the show. I could see there being another match added in, but the fact that we got that triple threat tag team ladder match coming this Friday on SmackDown leads me to believe this is only going to be a 5-match card with some promos across the rest of the show. We've got the hosts of Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill for Bad Blood. So, like, this seems like it's going to be a 5-match card, which I'm not against at all. Like, WWE's proved these 5-match cards can be very, very entertaining when done right, and I imagine the Georgia crowd is going to be loud for this show. They got Cody Rhodes, they got Roman Reigns, they got everybody on this thing. They have a Hell in a Cell match. There is no reason that this crowd is going to be quiet. But be sure to let me know down in the comments below what your predictions for this show is, what's your thoughts, where are we moving forward with the characters, all that stuff. Let me know down below, and again, this Saturday before Bad Blood, I'm going to be reading through the comments. I'm going to take a look at what you guys have said, and we might bring up some comments, some concerns, some directions, and discuss them on stream. So make sure you leave that comment and tune in this Saturday to watch my watch along of Bad Blood starting at, I think, 5 p.m. Eastern time, because we'll be live a whole hour before the show for the pre-show. And yes, that's right, you heard that correctly. It begins at 6 p.m. Eastern time, the actual main show. Well, thanks for watching. Make sure you leave that like, make sure you're subscribed, all that great stuff, and we will see you very, very soon for Bad Blood, and it should be a great show. Man, I'm pumped.